my thing. Oh, yeah, feed it under.
We're live. Okay, we're just waiting on our guest.
Big Dave.
Just got him. Oh, no, not live yet. Now we're live. I should pull up the stream and make sure you can't watch yourself while you do it.
Yeah, it wigs me out.
Has he written his Skype in yet?
Let me check.
Oh. No. Oh, no. Anyway.
You obsessed with Liu Jiajun. I just hate... Your taste in weightlifters is very
Liu
bourgeois.
Jiajun the king. Who's your
Jiajun
favorite?
is like... That's
well,
like...
you need to do an IGTV, and you come in, I'll film it, and I'll edit it.
My edgy list of top 5 weightlifters.
Yeah. I was even thinking about starting to do...
it's the same as, you know how you're into those runners who have something that's real weird about their techers? You know what I mean?
That's
Whereas,
like you with
because
weightlifting.
Liu Jiajun is like watching the textbook lift,
Mm.
which is just not that entertaining.
Mm.
Whereas like Hussein, I used to say Hyson, it's spelt Hysen. I believe it's pronounced Hussein Pulakau. And he, like, you know, he's the guy whose knees cave in heaps as the bar
And
passes
he's got
the
done
knees.
for drugs a few times.
Yes, and that's my guy.
That's your
my
guy?
fucking guy. Liu Jiajun was only interesting at this Worlds because he blew out his back and then still hit a world record. Have we talked about that on the podcast? Just that outrageous performance? Because so many people have said... I can't hear you in my headphones, FYI.
Yeah, well, that's because we're plugged in the computer because our guest is going to come through the computer, not
Does that mean our volume's going to be cooked?
Well, hold on. Let me plug in and have a
You
look.
plug in and listen. But yeah, for
Honestly,
those
all
of
that
you who
matters is
just
3
only saw the hook grip clips of Liu Jiajun's lift at this year's World Championships, go and the full session is up on YouTube, and it's with English commentary, which is normally really hard to get your hands on so close to the World Championships. But just have a look at that guy laying face down out the back the entire time everyone else is warming up. He's face down, no one's talking to him. He's got a wheelbarrow of ice dumped onto his back, and yeah. It's just one of the most insane things I've ever seen. I think he took like 3 warm-ups on snatch and like 2 on clean and jerk.
Well, he's been... Yeah, it was a beast. He was a beast. The audio's coming through good.
All right, sweet.
So now we've got to wait for our guest, David Gray, to...
Yeah, Liu Jiajun, he is like China. He's everything China wants in an athlete. Like, he's just a fucking company man.
Committed.
Yeah. If Chinese weightlifting team was like, hey, Liu, we need you to walk off that cliff, he was like, say no more, fam.
He'd do it.
Yeah. That's essentially what he did. He herniated every disc in his body, and they're like, can you CJ 207 for us? And he goes, yeah.
How is he now?
Hasn't been seen since.
No, you follow Liu Jiajun Barbell. They posted him with his daughter the next day. It's probably an old photo.
Yeah, sitting. Did you notice he wasn't standing?
No, he was in the pool throwing her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I paid attention.
I honestly reckon he was like, boys, my back's cooked. And his coach is like, cunt, we'll get you a new back. Just get out there.
Yeah. They could do some shit with Chinese medicine.
Well, not many Chinese athletes are failing drug tests and they're beating everyone. So make of that what you want. They're obviously onto some good, medicinal herbs, maybe.
Icing the testicles post-training.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, don't you
I imagine that,
thing?
Would they do...
They have horny goat weed post-training, and then they ice their testes.
Do you know Ilya Ilin, his wife was captain of the Kazakh handball team, and she wasn't allowed to go to London because they were like, we need that man horny and chomping at the bit.
Good.
Yeah. They had him snorting lines of bloody rhino tusk before lifts and all sorts. Anything to get an edge, right? But that was heartbreaking. Did you see Ilya at Worlds?
I'm going to try and bring him. Contacting. No, I didn't, but I heard he lifted like shit.
Yeah, Liu Jiajun out-totaled him.
He's been active today. We're talking about David Gray, our guest upcoming. Let's have a look if it's actually... we might have fucked our times here.
I was even going to message you.
Look. He's been awake, though.
How did you fuck it?
Daylight savings.
But how did you not have that in your head? So when was it, an hour ago?
No, an hour in the future.
Fucking hate you so much.
Hold on. Stay online. Oops. That's fucked, man.
You're telling me.
Fuck. Hang tight, everyone.
I'm just going to chill because I know I'd like to think you're hating yourself right now.
Little did I know we've had daylight savings changeover, and it's actually 4:15 p.m. our time now, and I know it's only 6:15 your time, so I've really fucked up. Is there any chance you are free? Let me FaceTime you. His email. How good's this? You just keep talking.
I don't know. I'm lost for fucking words.
Oh, fuck.
Why didn't I message you and be like, check?
Copy. Hold on. We're going to sort this out. This is just classic. Is it just me or is it hot in here?
It's Trinity. I think Trinity's tuned in. Trinity? Hey, Trin. Oscar absolute. Oh, you've been seeing how Oscar fucked up. We could probably.
Of course he doesn't have an iPhone.
We could crank out a quick monthly wrap up like over the weekend. The big sports bender. UFC, both grand finals.
What, right now?
Oh, if
that's
you want.
fucked. Well, he's awake, so there's a chance he might be able to come on.
How about we just text back and forth and you can read out his answers in an Irish accent?
Nah, he might get ready to go. Oh, that's fucked. Anyway, here we are live. Yeah, look, we can crank out the monthly wrap up now. We got two people tuning in, which is okay. So yeah, tell us about your trip to Bali. I'm going to get some water because I'm fucking
Can you stop leaving me one out? All right, so trip to Bali, went on a CrossFit retreat. Basically, it wouldn't have gone on a holiday unless my missus organised it for me. So credit to her. She booked us into a CrossFit retreat. And I got to say, it kind of came at a good time because the whole variability shtick we've been on, like CrossFit is that in a nutshell. Like CrossFit is almost only variability. And I don't know, it felt really good doing different stuff, but then the issue with the variability that you get in CrossFit is that it's taxing. Like it's going to take away from your amount of work that you can do. You know what I mean? There's only so much stuff you can do, and weightlifting and CrossFit in terms of intensity are about a similar sort of level. And that's why all this sort of low load, low intensity, low velocity sort of motor sensory work is very, very useful because it gives you back that variability, but it doesn't take away too much from the energy systems and your I guess, that you draw on for the high intense stuff. So I don't know. I think I need to improve my overall work capacity. So I'll probably start involving at least 1 or 2 Metcon workouts per week. But yeah, in terms of what sort of variability I like, I don't know if CrossFit ticks all the boxes that a lot of the, I guess, Kyle Dobbs, PRI stuff sort of does. But like I said, it was still good to feel out some new things. I think some of the gymnastics stuff might be helpful for strengthening my weak overhead position in weightlifting. But yeah, so that was some good takeaways. Also, CrossFitters love getting on the piss. That's also what I learnt. I have never drunk. Since I quit music, I haven't drunk that much in my life. Trinity can vouch for that. I got slaughtered every night.
What did you think of Bali as a place?
Oh, it's good. It's weird, but because there's a lot of Aussies setting up businesses and stuff like that over there. So I was paying Western prices for a lot of things.
Oh yeah, big.
Also, CrossFit. One thing I will say, fucking hate CrossFit Wanderlust. I understand why it became such a thing, but now it's just such a fucking scene. If you're not downing 5 mils of Test D a week, don't take your shirt off and don't go there because you're gonna feel bad about the way you look. It is swole patrol, hardcore.
It's a real scene. I see on IG. Yeah, that Dave Driscoll guy.
Yeah.
He's done well there.
Oh, mate, everyone wants to be Dave Driscoll, myself included.
Really?
He's there with his bloody, he's shaved in. He's got my haircut, but then a braided ratty, which as a 40-year-old business owner, you know what I mean? What a renaissance man.
You're living the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? I'll be there in Bali in a few months, actually, after my...
Are you doing honeymoon in Bali?
Yeah, honeymoon in Bali, yeah. Just 8 nights.
Where are you going? Are you staying...
We stay in Uluwatu for 4 nights, and then we stay in Canggu.
Canggu's good. It's it's almost Seminyak, though, in terms of, it's not that relaxed.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Do you ride a scooter when you're in Bali?
Yeah, I will this time, but I'll ride on the back of Bex.
I messed up because, I probably sank, close to half a case
Hope
of
Mum
beer
isn't listening
before
to this.
tried. Oh, she'll be disappointed. Actually, she'll probably be impressed that basically sank 10 beers, then tried to learn how to ride a scooter, almost sent it into the lake because
That's
I had
good.
about 30 seconds to figure out how to work the thing
And they'll
because everyone
sting
was
ya.
trying to
They'll
head to
sting you for
dinner.
it.
Yeah, so I just took the car around most of the time. I had bad
As
first
in you
experience
drove
on
the
it.
car.
No,
You just took the.
I could have, but yeah.
Do you use Uber over there?
Nah, they've got their
Taxi
different
system.
version of Uber.
Oh, okay.
It is interesting though, just like how the culture on the road is different. Like no traffic lights, millions more people on the road, but just people just let you in. Whereas in Australia, the lights go out and it's absolute fucking chaos, and we don't even have 25% of the traffic that they deal with.
Oh, the traffic's crazy over there. Sorry,
But
I'm just waiting for him to
make it
text.
work, huh?
I'm waiting for the text.
You're waiting for the
He's
text.
probably literally asleep until like 7
He's
a.m. And he's
still-
gonna wake up and go, "Fucking idiot."
He's trying to slow his eyes down because they've never rolled so hard.
Oh, I can't believe that. Anyway, let me just get out of this funk. And what else has been happening? I already did sort of my monthly wrap up already.
Yeah, Trinity's not impressed. Yeah, you did it before. What, with your top 5 athletes?
Yeah, top 5
Is
athletes.
Dusty in there?
No. Who are your top 5 athletes of 2019?
Lasher.
What's his last name? You guys shout out his Instagram.
Lasha Talakadze, which that will give you no indication of how to spell it because it's one of the least phonetic surnames I know of. So if you just type in Lasha, Lasha, and then Tala, he should come up. You might need to throw an X in there. If not, you'll be able to find him through Hook Grip, or you'll be able to find him through All Things Gym. They've been posting a lot of him recently. But he is the Tyson Fury of strength sports in the sense that he just shouldn't move the way he does for the weight class he is. And he's not even like, I guess Tyson Fury is a great build for boxing, but Lasher is a tall man. Like he's got to send that bar a long way. And it's just, we haven't even seen his ceiling yet.
That's
Like
crazy.
he genuinely
What does he
looks
snatch?
capable
220?
currently of a 230 snatch. He's snatched 221 before at Georgian Nationals. He snatched 221 at Worlds recently, but people have said that they've seen footage from his coaches of him hitting 230,
So, but what?
which
so
is
the coaches don't let it get
disgusting. Nah, because you don't want to let the cat out of the bag. The weightlifters have done so much shit like that. Like there was a bit where the Chinese team got some fake plates in, and Lu Hao, so he was the
Yeah, I
top
know Lu Hao.
guy in Shiza Yong's class basically, back when it was 69 kilos, and he held all the world records. I think he had like a 197 clean and jerk, but then China bought some fake red plates in for a training day, and he did a 220 jerk from the rack and re-racked it like nothing. And it just took us a while. It was just a bit too easy.
Yeah.
And then,
But if he dropped it,
but then 2 months later, Russia released footage of Alexei Lovchek hitting a 270 clean and jerk. But then it turns out that that was fake plates as well because they were filming him for like a biographical movie.
hectic.
Yeah, so
they
there's
sort of
all
flex
sorts
on
of
each other
silly
with fake plates.
moves.
There's not many sports where you can do that. Like you can have a crazy tailwind and mute the audio in sprinting.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not going to.
They
be like
don't
an
do it,
extra
but do
25
they?
Plate. No. Well, Gatlin's been over in Japan and ran like.
That was on a
890.
game show though,
Yeah,
right?
on a
The
game
US has
show.
never released that like prior to the Olympics
No,
to
we've actually got to reach out to Gatlin after. Is that?
Oh, he's back. David Gray is. He is shit boys. Are we too late? I think we could be on here.
No, we could be on. Are you ready to go now?
Yes, he's free in 5 minutes.
What's your email for Skype?
This has been somewhat
Hey,
selfish.
we're
We'll get him
on.
on again because
100%.
guaranteed we'll have.
Look, I can. We've still got 45 minutes.
As they say, I think today we could be left with more questions
We've
than
got
answers.
45 minutes.
Did you hear what I said? That was deep.
Yeah,
more
yeah.
questions than
Than
answers,
answers, okay.
right?
Look, after I'm going to spend the first 5 minutes apologizing.
Because that's what it's about, fam. It's not about having the answers. It's about asking better questions. Am I Kyle Dobbs?
Mate, Carl Dobbs is my fucking hero.
Yeah. He's the Marcus Aurelius
Does
of
this mean
anti-extension.
we have to update? Nope.
Fuck, look at that. Look at those Skype contacts.
Crazy.
If anyone ever steals Oscar's laptop,
Oh,
you'll be
don't
able to make
say
some
that.
juicy Skype calls.
Angus, so it's... What does he say?
He's like, give me a minute. I've just got to forget everything I know so I can communicate with you idiots.
Is that the email?
No, he didn't actually say that. He's way too nice.
What did he say?
Give me a sec. He's just throwing some pants on.
Wow.
He was probably in the middle of pouring out his morning apple cider vinegar, and you've bloody interrupted it.
Oh, look, Blaine's online as well. Should we add him in? So there's Randy and Isaiah. Oh, Trevor May's actually on a call right now. Who's that? Oh, I'd like to add you on Skype.
Oh.
Yeffy Cohen?
Do you see Steffi Cohen hit 235 for a triple?
Fuck, that's crazy. She's a weapon, man.
First rep took 12 seconds. Second and third rep, about 2 seconds.
She's an absolute weapon. Shout out to her.
Also, what's relevant is that Kelly Starrett commented on a post I noticed, but do you know he's rebranded? He's not Mobility What anymore?
Supple Leopard?
No, he's called The Ready State. Because I reckon what happened is Kelly Starrett, he doubled down on knees out and he doubled down on sitting is the new smoking. And we've kind of realized that both of those are kind of like half-baked ideas. And he's trying to create distance, as they say, which is the move. Like, I respect a good rebranding when you've said some silly stuff. Let's face it, I'll probably have to do it at some point.
I got a heavy joke then out of that. Can we put the mics down so I can tell you?
Yeah. Do you reckon, is he the David Epstein of fitness education?
That was a good one, wasn't it?
Oh.
Well, listeners probably could have handled that.
Yeah, I thought it was saying that would get us in legal trouble. Actually, they're pretty liturgious.
No, it's not that bad. All right, let's see. How long does it take to put on a pair of undies? Jokes, I can't be.
One leg at a time.
Let's just give him a buzz and see what happens. We're ringing away, guys. If anyone's actually in the chat, oh yeah, people, you guys are loyal. Shout out to Trendy. Whoever else is there, leave a comment.
Yeah, this has been brutal for those people hanging in.
Okay, well, he's not quite there yet, but that's all right. He'll be there soon. Yeah, I'm off to Bali in end of Jan. No, actually, it'll be February. I'm actually looking for a suit at the moment. So how's this? This is a funny story. I go to a tailor in Paddington, very upmarket, because I'm looking for a nice linen suit. They're fucking expensive, so I don't want Italian linen. All right, so this is the funny thing. So I go, they work around costing for you, because there's a lot they can cut corners, blah, blah, blah. So the base for this Italian linen suit at P. Johnson's tailor, no, I won't shout him out. Let's just say over the road here, was $2,000, fully tailored, light as a feather. And he goes, well, $2,000's a starting rate. It's between $2,000 and $3,500. I was like, oh, what do you mean? He goes, look, we have the fabric here. We design it. Then we send it to China. They put it through a machine, give you a good quality product, send it back $2,000. I go, oh, what's the $3,500 option? He's like, same thing, but we send it to a village in Italy, and men that smoke durries all day hand stitch it. I was like, oh, what's the better product? And he goes, probably the machine one in China. I was like, well, who pays the $3,500? He's like, people just want to tell people they've got an Italian suit made in Italy. I was like, fuck, that's
it's
heavy,
interesting,
man.
The things that we romanticize that cost us money. Like, for example, things being handmade. Things being handmade suck. Machine make everything.
Machine make pretty good stuff. Except, like, what's better handmade?
I think it's something we just lie to ourselves about.
Yeah. Food.
Like, maybe, like, again, maybe because it's like we've got this social construct around it. Like, maybe psychologically, like, it is genuinely worth that. Yeah, I guess, can machines not blow glass?
They can, but I just think do you remember when we went to Byron Bay as kids?
Yeah, you'd have to make a machine with like a metal tongue to blow.
It's so funny, like, being an adult now, and like Beck, my fiance, loves decorating our house, and then thinking back to when we were kids, and like Mum would
dragging us to the glass blowing place.
Dragged us along to a glass blowing place, and obviously just being like, oh, the pieces, and just fucking imagining around our house, and Dad just being like, I just want to go surf. And then he has 2 sons, and he's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just fucking
my biggest memory from that first Byron Bay trip is just that giant wart that you had.
Oh, dude,
because that's when it came out.
Crazy. So I had this plantar wart, and it was actually a sea urchin. It was on the heel of my foot. And like, so what you do with these things? Well, this is not what you do anymore. Obviously, I know now because I have a podiatrist fiance. So I had to soak it every night in this like something that would soften it up, and then I'd put elastoplast on it, and then try and leave it on for a bit, then try and pull it off and rip it out. It was only ripping like the skin off, nothing serious. And then Mum goes, because it was so painful, I was walking on my toes for like a month beforehand. And then, no, it was Dad just goes, you're not ripping it off, because I was ripping it off slowly because it was so painful. And Dad goes, let me rip it off. And then he ripped it, and the thing was like, for those watching, it was probably like 1.5 centimeters deep. No word of a lie.
But then oddly satisfying.
And everyone in our family, well, me and Angus, I remember not wanting to throw it out because I was like, this is amazing. I had a crater in my heel. It had like roots, and there was a sea urchin in it. Yeah, that was unreal. And then we tackled that hike. Mum and Dad made us do every day, the Byron Bay Lighthouse walk.
Oh, yeah, screw that.
You'd be smashing that every day for my wedding, the pre-week. I actually like doing that walk at Byron Bay. When you're a kid, there's nothing worse.
It's hell.
It's hell. Those big
You don't
steps.
need more mindfulness when you're a kid, because that's all you've got. You spend all day inside your head.
Oh, we're on. Mate, apologies. Fuck, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm fucking it got me, man. That fucking got me daylight savings. Let me just patch you into the Skype.
This would be less egregious if you didn't do it to Carl Dobbs like a week ago.
Oh, fuck, man. But I had no excuse. At least I've sorted. I don't have an excuse for this, but anyway, look, you're here.
Also, you are live now, so don't say anything hectic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that,
Yeah, mate. We'll wake you up. Look, I clearly can't wake up, and it's fucking 4:30 p.m. here.
Right, I'll move over here.
I'm going to try and throw in these headphones.
Go for it, mate. And shout out to being our first Irish guest.
No.
Who else?
Leon Reid.
Oh, fuck. Leon Reid. Do you know Leon Reid, the sprinter? He's Northern Ireland, though.
Oh.
No, I don't know him.
Yeah, of course.
He might be a future client of yours. One of the famed guests of the High Performance Podcast, Leon Reid, got a controversial bronze, deservedly so, for the 200-metre sprint at the Commonwealth Games last year. Mate, we've lost you. Can't hear your voice anymore.
Nah, it's gone.
Just rip the headphones out. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Now I can hear.
I have two sets of headphones. I'll try the other ones.
Okay. Try the other ones. Trust the old iPhone headphones. That's what I do say in the brief, because they're usually solid.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, let me intro this.
And I'll ask something slightly trivial to warm us up.
All right, guys, here we are for episode 151. That's 151, like that old deranged nightclub in Wollongong, for those who know. And we have a very special guest, a guy Angus has worked with. I've listened to him on one or two podcasts, definitely Just Fly Sports, and it was a great ep. We have David Gray with us. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me on.
No worries at all. And in Australia, your nickname, Davo.
Yeah. Yeah. I lived in Australia for a few years, but
oh really?
I actually don't think I heard Davo. I'm not sure.
What? Fuck, you weren't in the right part of Australia.
People were just trying to be respectful, I guess.
Yeah. Where'd you live in Australia?
I lived in just all eastern suburbs. I lived in Bondi and Bronte.
What I'm surprised he's not out here working on West Connects.
Yeah. What years?
Up to about 2 years ago.
You would have lived in Bondi when I lived up here. Where in Bondi did you live?
I lived at the top of, there was a street, you know where Bondi Tony's is?
Oh, yes. Dude, the fucking best burgers in the world. We spoke about that last episode.
I was literally across the street from that. So any night you're just feeling really lazy, it's just ring Bondi Tony's, get them to do a takeaway for you, just stroll across the street. And then back home.
It's all the time.
There's some weird racist vibes towards Irish people in the eastern suburbs. I noticed one of the pubs in Paddington, it's got like a big rainbow over the front, and it's like, we accept gay people, Indigenous people, and Irish. And I was like, that's a weird one to throw in there.
The Irish in Sydney are
notorious for being
like they're mental. Like they just congregate together and just go to the same pubs and destroy everything.
Oh, there you go.
They're just loose units.
Yeah.
All right, should we
get because because they're working like night shifts and they're working the stop go signs and stuff like that. So there's a pub in Bondi Junction. What's it called?
Oh,
The tea
yeah,
gardens, is
yeah,
it?
the one that's below the nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go there at like if you walk past it like 10 o'clock at night, all the stop go signs are stacked up outside the pub, and all the Irish guys and girls are in there, just like still in their work clothes.
Just getting
So
loose.
yeah.
So I noticed that Kelly Starrett has rebranded from Mobility WOD to the Ready State. I personally believe that this is an attempt to distance himself from his doubling down on the knees out cue. And I believe people like you are somewhat responsible for creating that heat and that pressure. Any comments?
No, I doubt Kelly Starrett. It's definitely not pressure coming from me anyway. Um, yeah, it's not from me. I would say it's more of a money thing than anything else, than caring about knees in or out.
Yeah, I had to be reminded that Kelly Starrett is actually pretty legit. It was just my fault for listening to the knees out cue so hard, which that was a humbling experience. I'm sure many of our listeners have sort of gone through that same journey of, you get onto a cue and it seems to solve some problems for you at that given time, but then, every cue works at a certain point, but maybe not forever.
Yeah, he's obviously a smart guy. He just misses a lot of the puzzle, I think. But he's a smart guy, like, and he definitely brought a lot of mobility stuff into the awareness, which is a good thing. But I guess, like anyone, he just didn't get everything right,
Look, in the early days of CrossFit, there were quite a few guys that sort of rode that fame crest up. And if you look at amongst the lot of them, his information was quite good compared to many.
And that's it. Sometimes you get thrust into the spotlight whether you're ready or not.
Yeah, no, he did a pretty good job. I think the information is outdated. Like, I remember going through his book 10 years ago and having like the pages folded down where I needed to do this smash and this band floss, and like I don't know anyone who's ever helped.
Yeah.
It just doesn't help. But he was still trying his best.
And I guess like you've kind of gone from this smashing, foam rolling, releasing everything person into, like, if I had to summarize how I see your work, a lot of it seems centered around giving someone a new experience with their body, or like helping them feel something they haven't felt for a while. You probably don't want to pigeonhole yourself, but like, is that sort of, how do you view your approach?
Yeah, it's probably not a bad way of looking at it. It's just, so the brain is smarter than us, right? So we know that the system can self-organize. We're very much self-organizing systems, and no two movements are ever the same. They won't ever be the same. As much as you practice and practice and practice, they'll never be the same thing. So if we can just show the body, maybe shine a light on some of the darker areas in the body, maybe where some of the maps are a little bit more foggy, the brain absolutely loves that. It's just bringing it back to a safe place that it hasn't inhabited for a while, gives it more options. Oftentimes they're better options. The brain just kind of isn't happy to go there anymore. So it's very much about giving the brain an experience of, because the movement is there. It's not like we're strong or weak because we're not going to these areas. We might not be very, very strong there, but it's just because the brain doesn't feel safe there. So yeah, it's probably not a bad, like, I do a lot of strength work and stuff with people too, but it's often sandwiched between an experience as well. Even the strength work you can make into an experience.
So the guys that you have coming to you in your home studio or practice, are you just working through sort of different exercises with the body, or are you adding in weight? Because I see you have, like, you might get someone to do a split squat, but I never really see you introduce weight when you're with them personally.
Both. So we do. I don't think weight is needed a lot of the time. Most of them guys you're seeing are probably rehab guys, right? So when they're with me, they can work on the one movement that that's going to change their life, right? And that needs to be very kind of detailed and things like that. Or maybe it doesn't, but sometimes it needs to be quite detailed. I'm trying to get all their joints into a certain type of position and make them work hard there. So, but I have a gym outside. I just don't take many videos there. But we're doing weight stuff too. Yeah.
No, it's very interesting stuff. Where did it sort of all come to fruition? Like, go back to, I guess, early days mentors. What sort of got you on this path of rehabilitation?
Oh, I was destroyed. I know, like I said a little bit about it in Joel's podcast, but I was like, anyone that ever comes into me now, I'm like, unless it's been like a traumatic injury, a car crash or something bad, like I'm like, oh, don't worry, I've been much worse than you. I've felt a lot crappier than you, and my body has been destroyed. So I went to the States on I don't know, have you heard of like a J1? It's called. You go there as part of your
Like study
uni.
abroad.
Yeah, no, not even study. Just Irish people go to the States and just go absolutely on the tear for 3 months in summer when you're in uni. So I was playing a lot of Gaelic football at the time at a fairly decent level, but so I could only go over there for 3 weeks. And I think about a week in, I crashed a motorbike and absolutely ripped my knee apart. So it was the best day ever. We'd all hired like motorbikes. We went to a shooting range. We went to do all these crazy
classic
things.
America.
Yeah.
Drink out of red cups, shoot
Yeah.
guns, drive on the other side of the road. Tick, tick, tick.
Exactly, and we were about 2 minutes from our apart. I was about to say hotel, but it definitely wasn't a hotel that we were staying in. This motel, and I won't even say, but I just crashed a bike, ripped my knee apart, and then spent the next 2 weeks. I didn't go to hospital. No, the hospital was like 2 hours away, so I just left it. So there was literally a hole in my knee, so I just hobbled around.
You didn't have insurance?
I don't know what I had over there. I don't know. So yeah, just hobbled around, and then when I came back, I started playing football straight away again. So it was just like bandaging up my knee, and it was literally like seeping out.
I thought you were going to say back home and then straight into some banded crab walks or something.
Some knee flossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I literally started to run, like jump on the other leg, change direction on the other leg, and this just developed into the worst patellar tendonitis ever. It was just horrible, right? So but I was still training like 6 days a week in the gym, another 3 or 4 days a week, and it just got really bad. So I traveled around all Ireland trying to meet like the best physios and surgeons and all different people, trying to get them to help me, and it was just awful. Like the advice was dreadful. Like,
and did you know it at the time? Even like the advice you were getting just wasn't right, or you were sort of putting what they said into practice and it just wasn't working?
A bit of both. Maybe if I really bought into this stuff, maybe it would have worked. But no, I wouldn't have. It was terrible. Yeah, but a bit of both. I was like, the more people I met, like they were all saying the same thing, and it all just didn't make sense. And I was studying myself and trying to figure it out, and it just didn't make sense. So yeah, I stopped trusting people like that, and just kind of started seeking out more and more smart people, I would say, not people that are just doing what everyone else does for the sake of it.
So
so that kind of led me along the way.
And what the main problem was the patellar tendonitis, or you diagnosed the underlying problem?
Yeah, that was the problem, but as a result of it, I completely changed my gait. So everything changed. I started jumping on my other leg, started changing direction on my other leg, walking down the stairs. So every single thing changed. So then for someone to just say that your glute med is weak and you need to do banded walks, like it's madness, right? So because nothing was happening on that leg, it was just and VMO stuff. It was just your VMO is weak and your glute med is weak. and nothing to do with like you actually can't put 30% of your weight on that side. So yeah, it was just from there trying to figure out what was happening, and that it's kind of led me to here, which is pretty cool because I get to tell the tendon stuff all the time now with clients, and you can usually take them through it pretty quickly.
It's something we see a lot, especially, you probably know, you've been following us for a bit. We have a lot of jumpers on, we have a lot of dunkers on, and in my opinion, from what I've been through, it is majorly a load management thing for a lot of guys. But I imagine in your field, it's probably a bit beyond that, because I'm guessing guys have sort of seen this readily available information online that they might have tried themselves. What is your sort of main, I guess?
Like, is it that you see that the pain then causes a common way that they reshape their movement? Or are there not many commonalities between the cases?
Not many commonalities, but there is not with how they move necessarily. Well, they all move differently, but you'll see that the commonality is that the knee is actually taking too much load. And it actually, interestingly, was with me. Even though I was trying to offload my whole leg, when your gait mechanics change and you don't have the intent through the foot anymore, the quads and the knee start taking the eccentric load. So if you don't have the intent through the foot, the knee sinks down an extra millimeter every step. So that's just that small sink, right? Which is that lack of stiffness that we need. Now, that's kind of an easy way to maybe, it feels like you're offloading the leg because you're not pushing the same way, but actually you're sending more stress down into the knee, because we need the gastroc and the hamstrings to co-contract together to stop that sink. And in professional sport, like that sink, we're talking like a millimeter, hundredths of a second. But that's the difference between winning and losing a game, or being a professional athlete or not. So it's not just obviously the pain, but it completely affects your performance. So it's the quad and the knee is taking the eccentric load. That's what's happening.
I wish I knew you when I had an os trigonum removed out of my right heel in 2016, and since then, if I ever get patellar tendonitis, it seems to be always on the right. Mind you, it's a lot better now, and I had a lot of problems in the knuckle of my big toe, and that actually led me to stop sprinting for the last 6 months of last year, and I'm sure it has something to do because, of course, coming back from injury, it was like the classic calf raises, and then sort of into jogging, skipping, drills, and then back into sprinting. But I think from being in a boot for 5 weeks, I think my foot was weak as piss. My calf and tibialis was still probably really weak as well.
Yeah. Those guys are really important. The calf is the most underrated muscle in the body, I think. But you just need good intent in the foot. You're using your foot pretty well. But it is, like, don't get me wrong, it's a load thing as well. It might start with a load thing. You might have a bad couple of weeks sleep or a bad couple of nights sleep, and maybe that's why the system is getting overloaded. But then pain changes everything. It changes how you move. People forget that. It changes absolutely everything. It changes how the muscles contract. It changes how your brain, like the intent you're putting into that side, and people forget about that. So they think we can change something by just getting stronger. And yes, sometimes we can, but a lot of the time, actually, we can't.
It's interesting because so many people try to train through injuries these days. And I guess this is probably one of the key arguments why when you immediately injure yourself, you probably need like complete rest, right? Until you come back to where you're not bastardizing your movement because of pain. Like, is that one of the like key aspects to long-term recovery? Or is it, if you avoid the stress for too long, does that create just as much of an issue?
Yeah, that's it. That's a hard one to answer. It's a very much a gray area, and I don't think anyone knows for sure. It's kind of, that's where the art of it comes in a little bit. It's like, how can I keep this person, like, if you're in Ireland and there's a GAA player, just for anyone listening, like we have Irish games like Gaelic football and hurling, they will not play. It's just not even an option. Like, unless you have a broken leg, like, you're playing. So it's about how I can best manage this. How we can how we can manage it is probably the word, and I hate that word because that's kind of that's showing like, oh, we're managing it, we're not actually getting rid of it. Yeah, but a lot of the time, if you're training really hard, then you're probably going to need a break. You're probably just going to need to bring the load down to change how you move. Because if you're constantly sore, that's not going to work. But I will always try my best to keep someone as active as possible.
And have you seen pretty good success with again, this is asking about guys that you might have worked with in this scenario playing Gaelic football where they have a niggle and they can't be pulled off the field. Have you managed to successfully, I guess, fix someone's problem without them stepping back from the game?
Yeah, happens all the time. When you give them what movement they're missing, the knee doesn't get overloaded anymore, or the whatever area doesn't get overloaded anymore. It's unbelievable the brain's ability to self-organize when you've showed it like what might be a little bit more optimal. You just give it some options and everything changes then.
It's interesting, like one of the topics you've been talking about a lot lately was just like how, we've all been through that thing where we perceive the glutes as the answer to everyone's pain and movement problems. And then you just discussed how the gastroc is like severely underrated. Like you'll always hear people, strength coaches shitting on calf training and things like that. And
Really?
I guess the real answer is like we need to stop focusing, like putting any muscle on a pedestal. But can you comment on some of the more neglected muscle groups that lead to people suffering from pain? Like I guess a lot of it seems from the knee down, right? Gets neglected.
No. So I don't know. Have you heard of Franz Bosch?
Yeah,
Mr. Waterbags.
Yeah, Mr. Waterbags. I believe there's a hashtag about Franz.
Never go full Bosch.
Yeah.
Shout out to Graham Morris.
Is that from Graham?
Yeah.
But Franz is absolutely incredible in terms of he's a smart guy, right? So people see the water bags and laugh at him. I actually like the water bags. Definitely, I don't use them, but I like the concept of it for rehabilitation, right? Because it's unpredictable perturbations, and that's a valuable thing in rehabilitation. How valuable it is for strength training, we're kind of yet to know, to be honest with you. But he is so smart, and his work on muscle architecture is incredible. And he showed like there's different types of muscles, right? Some are designed to really produce force. Some are not necessarily designed to produce force. The glutes obviously are designed to produce force, but they need time to do that. And it's a very, very short time, but they still need a little bit of time. So we need certain muscles like the gastroc and like the hamstrings, which are there to kind of contract isometrically together. And that's what allows the glutes then, that gives them a chance to actually produce force. So when your foot hits the floor, that force is kind of traveling up and down through the body. And if we have a shaky knee and the gastroc and the hamstrings aren't doing a really good job, then the force is going at the knee. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we need that knee to be super stiff. The muscles co-contract there, and that's what allows the glutes to produce force. So if you're doing glute stuff without getting the other pieces of the puzzle in place, I can't stress enough just how much of a waste of time it is.
Fuck, you're on the ball for someone who's just woken up. It takes me a good hour to get there. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I didn't even get to have a coffee.
Mate, I'm even more impressed. Something I've been doing a lot of lately, and I'm finding that I can really switch on my glutes with it, is just sort of the standing on one leg stuff. So getting barefoot, tucking my hips under, softening the knee, and really just focusing on like playing around with different angles of my foot, seeing where I feel it where. Is that something that you'll be prescribing to someone just to sort of feel their way up the chain and make sure, are you feeling this through your glutes? Are you not loading the knee?
I wouldn't necessarily prescribe it, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I just have some better ways of doing it. Okay. But it's definitely a good, like probably easy win. Just stand there for a minute on one foot and get a little feeling and proprioceptive awareness of what's going on. It's more about how you stand on one foot, I think. So a lot of the time people will say have stiffness through the foot and grip the ground and things like that, which obviously well, not obviously, maybe is not a smart thing at all.
See, I've
But
listened to
if
so
we're-
much Just Fly. I go toes up and let the arc do the work.
Yeah, the arch.
Yeah.
Did you say arch?
Arc. I said arc, but yeah, arch.
Okay. What's this new thing?
Noah's Ark. It's my foot.
So just let the foot move, and it will react, and everything else will have to react to that. So it's how you stand on one leg. I see it a lot these days. I don't love how people are doing it. I think it could be better, but it's definitely a good thing to just play around with that.
There you go. If you want a lot of interaction on Instagram, do a video of like your way of doing that. It'll blow up. I'll fucking get around it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Break the internet.
I might. I doubt that. I don't think any of my posts break the internet. They're not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. I don't know. People get pretty hard when you get a foot pronating. Like that gets me going. You see, everyone loves you for your twitchy videos. We want to see, the hamstrings shaking.
Yeah. I've been posting some of them recently.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to see. It's nice to see
Because
I see that, and I'm not even looking for that in a client, right? I'm not looking for that at all. I'm just looking to organize the system and see what happens. I just know they need this movement. So this twitching starts to happen. People think like this twitching is people write. I get like 30 private messages then like, how do you do that? It doesn't really matter. It's just something interesting to see what's happening as a result of the bones moving to the right place.
But as a patient, when you feel that, like that's one of the realest feeling things. You're like, oh, some shit must be going on here. Like, I'm sure that helps get a lot of like buy-in from people when you get them shaking. Like,
and there's like, I get them like when you're saying, oh, I don't see a lot of weights. I don't really need a lot of weights in terms of what I'm trying to do. I think weights comes a little bit after, in the rehabilitation process at least. I think it comes a little bit after some other stuff. Just getting some other things to work a little bit well. Not saying that you can't lift weights. Like I load people straight away if there's someone in a boot. Like I'll find a way to load them straight away. But I think the weights do come a little bit after. But I still like you'll have someone if you get someone into a position that they're not spending really any time in, or their bones aren't used to going into, you'll hear the gasp, right, as soon as you put them there, and the whole physiology changes. Everything changes. They start to shake, they start to sweat, and that's when you know you're on the money.
They're working hard. Going back to when I was talking about sort of that, getting that feeling from the foot up the hamstring into the glute, what is something you might prescribe for someone coming to you and you need to get them to sort of make that connection?
See, everyone is talking about the connection. I don't think we necessarily need to make the connection. I think it's there already. The bones, like we all have the same shape of bones, right? So this is embedded into our DNA, like for millions of years. That this is we all as babies, we stand up and walk the same way. We all move pretty much the exact same way, and it's for a reason, and it's because these connections are there. So it's everyone is different, even though I'm saying everyone is the same. So it's what bone isn't moving into the position, rather than going for this big global movement that looks like something. So it's like, what is stopping you achieving this? So I know that's a generic answer, but everyone is very different, but also everyone needs to move the exact same. But what is different will be different in everyone.
But that's what's so conflicting with like then this evidence-based approach to rehab, like, because the scientific model tells us that the bigger the cohort, like the better the information you get. But then with like this N=1 success that you're having, like, would you say that understanding of biomechanics needs to be more emphasized these days rather than just like reading research papers? Because like, I've been getting into all this stuff that you're saying, and then I'm talking about it with people, and they're like, yeah, but where's the study? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, this thing's fucking, you can see the straight line connecting to the other thing. Like, I don't see how a study can dispute that if you can just, like, fucking see, like, a muscle connected to another one. Is that something you run into a bit as well?
I actually don't run into it at all. People keep saying,
you
like,
got
are you
smarter
going to get...
mates than me.
People keep saying to me that you're going to start getting negativity and stuff. I do a lot of pain science stuff with my clients. Like, I talk to them a lot. I help them understand that it's not all biomechanics, not even close to being all about biomechanics.
That's a good point.
Load is important, sleep is important, nutrition is important, your social circle is important, what you think about yourself is important. Everything matters, but the more and more evidence-based we get, the more people think that biomechanics isn't important. And it's like that's madness. That's insane. Like, the biopsychosocial model, bio is still a big part of that. And yeah, the more people think that we just need to load people more, load them more, load them more, load them more. If you move shit without weight, you're moving shit with weight. And the thing that's not loading well will just avoid being loaded when you do a 200 kilo back squat. It will just keep avoiding being loaded. And I think some of the research actually supports that. So let's find that thing, let's kind of reintegrate it back into the system and then load it.
Well, how many times have you heard someone saying, like, you can't squat or deadlift without using your core? Like, that is the biggest load of bullshit, as someone who's managed to do that successfully for years on end, just jamming myself into extension to get the job done.
Well, what about Nick
Yeah,
Rank?
you can do...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we won't go into that.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
Just my mate. He's an absolute weapon, but he's the biggest
Weapon.
extended beast you've
Lives
ever
in
laid eyes on.
extension.
Yeah.
At 69 kilos, could back squat 200 kilos without much training.
Yeah, and like the biggest anterior tilt you've ever seen. The man is miles away from hip extension, no matter where he is in the squat.
Where he is in life.
Yeah.
But like, your system can self-organize. The brain will find a way to get things done. So it's not like I'm not telling a powerlifter they need to do this and this and this when they lift. I don't care about that. They just go and do their thing. Like I did a session with Will, and I looked at a couple of his squats, but like, I'm not going to change Will's squat. The man could squat 10 of me, so it's just let them go and do their thing. And outside of that, let's play around with some other stuff that's going to help you feel better.
Did you tell him to buy another dog?
I
saw you post on back pain the other day,
before.
and I just really liked it. I thought it was a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
When
I think he has a dog.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, so he's got that covered of your pain-free protocol.
Yeah, buy a dog, yeah. It'll make you smile, laugh more. It'll make you go for some walks. It's number one in the pillar, I think.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, when I going back to my ankle surgery, after I had it, what did help the most was going for long walks around like the Bondi circuit every day. Like, I'd have bigger breaks at work back then and just smashing like 15,000 steps a day and like getting a burn in my calf for like the first few weeks. And yeah, it just was whether it was clearing my head, taking my mind off the pain of the ankle, or actually doing something by getting out there and striding through my gait, it definitely helped.
Yeah, I think the research as we go on in 20 years, we'll look back and say, like, how did we ignore gait so much? I really do.
Yeah, I like the idea of like bringing most things back to breathing and gait. One thing I wanted to ask you is, we've been through the phase of not letting knees travel forward, and now I think people are more commonly starting to accept that letting your knees travel past your toes is good. And I guess most of us know about that one study where it showed that there was a lot of force going through the knee the more you let it travel forward. And that's where the fear, at least in my mind, started from for a lot of people. When did the idea that pronation of the foot is bad come from? Do you know?
Oh, I have no idea.
What started that?
I have no idea.
Because I'm sure we weren't just born as cavemen being like, oh, pronation is bad. Like,
yeah, well, the cavemen probably had the same shape of bones as us, pretty much. That calcaneus is shaped in a certain way to allow to tip in. It's like it's missing a bit on the inside when you start to bend your knee. That calcaneus your heel bone, should roll and tip in and flatten the foot. So I don't know where it started. Maybe Kelly started.
He's
I reckon
copping
it
it
might
today.
have come from like orthotics. Most orthotics have that big.
Oh,
arc
did
in the
shoes
middle.
start it maybe?
Maybe shoes.
Bloody Nike. Are you going to war with Nike like David Weck?
No, I read some of that guy's book actually. Shoe Dog.
Oh,
you
yeah,
read it?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
Phil Knight.
It's
Yeah,
sick, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a legend. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
But were you looking
no,
for
I
the bit
don't-
where he didn't let his feet roll in? Or you're like, oh, God, just tear those pages out?
See, people don't know, like, everyone is trying to do their best. Like, everyone is trying to do their best. So even, like, I've seen some crazy stuff, people saying things to people, like assessing someone on a physio table and saying, oh, you're going to need orthotics, without even watching them stand up, right? So they are idiots, but they're still doing their best based on the information they've been kind of told, let's say. So pronation, it's not bad. Just let's put that out there. It's a very necessary part of our movement. It's a big part of our movement, and without it, you're going to struggle.
I reckon there's something like a big following to be bought of someone like yourself assessing hype shoes, so like real high-end Nike shoes, Adidas, Dior, and saying, okay, this one's going to be good for your feet, this one's going to be shit, aligning fashion and function.
I think Bill Hartman's going through a bit of that right now.
You reckon?
When bloody Adarian Barr's been carving shoes
but
up.
I'm
I don't know
talking
what he's on
like
to.
you know how the Yeezy will come out and he'll be like, yeah, this one's going to be okay for your feet, this one's going to be fucked.
Yeah. You know what? I wonder if it's just that, because so pronation is a force absorption strategy. Is that fair to say? And do you reckon it's just that people find the idea of producing force sexier than the idea of absorbing it?
I don't know if the word force absorption, but I guess that's what people in the gym use. Maybe it is, yeah, maybe it is. It's just when that foot hits the floor, if you have stiffness in the foot, like we have 33 joints in the foot, so your foot hits the floor, them joints need to open on the underneath side. And all that tissue needs to load. If we have so much stiffness in the foot that them joints aren't moving, where's that load going to go? It's going to go up into the body, up into the knee, maybe up into the hip, into the lower back. That's not where you want a lot of load going. So there's a lot of pre-tension. That's why the calf again is very important. Before our foot even hits the floor, there's a lot of pre-tension in the calf, in the gastroc, in the soleus. There's a lot of tension there, and your brain is modulating kind of how much tension I need based on every single time my foot has hit the floor before, and based on your vestibular system, how fast kind of your head is traveling through space. So there's a lot of tension in these lower leg muscles, and there's tension in the foot, but it's still going to move. And if you want to say, absorb that force, and that's how we really get a lot of elastic energy from that to spring us forward then.
It must be tricky when you get a sprinter, someone who's already running quite fast, and they come to you with a bit of pain, and if you have to assess and change their gait, does that sort of freak some people out and be like, oh shit, this is going to really take me back and I'm going to have to rebuild that speed with this new style that David's taught me?
Yeah, no, I'm not changing their gait. I'm not. Just giving them access to maybe like for a sprinter, it could be just a load problem. I don't want to be the guy who's just doing this. I could do anything. I could do hands-on work with someone. I just want to give someone what they need most. Yeah. So I know, like, you've had is it the knees over toes guy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the guy, because what happens when that guy can't help someone,
In our first Skype session, I did actually suggest to David Gray that he'd blow up harder if he changed his Instagram handle to the knees in guy.
Yeah, oh, that would be huge.
That's exactly what he retorted back with. Don't be a guy. Or like, try not to.
Yeah, don't be a guy. Just look at someone, take a step back, because and we all have our biases, right? Like every physio has their bias. Like 90% of the time it's that your glute med is weak or something like that. But don't be the guy. Just take a step back and actually assess someone and have a look and say, what do they need? So when I'm working with a sprinter, it's not that I'm trying to change their gait or anything like that. It's just that I'm trying to help them. Maybe if you want to think of it as load, just load a little bit more of what's not loading and offload a little bit of what's loading too much. And that doesn't, I don't actually get any objections from any client or anyone online or anything like that. I get the results I get are absolutely brilliant. And people feel it straight away. People feel it very quickly.
It's an amazing skill to have, though, to be able to not use like 1 to sort of 3 ways to apply to everyone, because we all learn something and it works, and we sort of fall in. Well, I know for myself, I'll fall in love with that for everyone. And not that this is for rehab. This can be for anything in life. Like when I was coaching swimming, a certain cue of like where the elbows should be placed when you're above the water, I'm like, oh, that should apply to everyone. That should apply to everyone. But that's not the fact, because this person might have different arm length to this person. And it's an amazing ability that you have to be able to just look through your mental encyclopedia to help someone.
But then with such an integrative approach, like, do you find it hard to not just throw the kitchen sink at people during the assessment process? Like, where do you start?
No, I'm looking for like one thing, two things, one big thing that we can do. So the kitchen sink just doesn't work for that. It really doesn't. Like the bigger and bigger we get with movements, the more we miss. Yeah. And that one thing will be hiding there. And that one thing could be just like someone just broke up with their boyfriend or something. You know, that could be the biggest thing. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna chat a little bit about this and get you breathing a little bit better or whatever. And here's a little strategy when you go home and you feel maybe a little bit of anxiety coming on. This is the breathing you're going to go to. So it's just about talking to people and connecting with people, and so much easier then when you really connect with people, I think. And not necessarily in a buy-in or a cheesy type of way, but when you're actually interested in people and you want to help people, you'll actually find yourself kind of using language that they want you to use. So like, how do you feel when you see yourself running, when you see yourself sprinting? And this is something I learned from one of my mentors, Dave O'Sullivan, who's a very smart guy. He's like, how does it, if you think of yourself sprinting, like, how does that feel? Or you look at that guy over there sprinting, how does he look? Oh, he looks springy. So like that word springy is important to them. So I'm going to use that word springy maybe if I'm chatting to them, and they might not even know that. But then when they're doing a movement, they're associating kind of springy. I say, okay, I want that to feel a little bit springy now, let's say, you know. So the kitchen sink just doesn't work, because I can be using words and cues that mean something to me but means nothing to them.
But then we're in the CBD, and like I know so many physio and chiro joints close to my gym, and we're like, I think one chiro does 15-minute sessions, and just what you were saying about like trying to form a connection with your client, like show that you give a fuck about them. They're just in like snap, crack, pop, slap them on the ass and get them back out there. It's like, how the fuck is that going to help anyone?
Yeah, it's not, but it's like those guys are paying big rent. Yeah, they have to make some money and make it quick. So that's my idea of a nightmare.
I was getting a haircut in Bali and had my neck manipulated. I just remembered.
What?
Yeah, I was like, so watch the AFL grand final, our Gaelic football. Dusty Martin, one of the players on the winning team, has a pretty iconic haircut. So I went out to get it. And then at the end, the guy like wipes down my face and everything. He like pulled this really hard and it popped. I don't know if there's a joint there that I didn't know about. And then he just gets my neck and goes like, rank, rank. And it's not gonna lie, like it felt good, but I was just in shock. Yeah. Like
that's brilliant.
I do think there's something to be said for like I said, same as when you get a muscle twitching, like a big crack. Like that's enough of like a moment maybe to give people like that feeling that something has changed in their body. But not what I wanted out of a haircut in a third world country.
Yeah, that's interesting. That could be a good business model or business idea for someone in Australia, a chiro with a salon or whatever you call it, barbers.
It was absolute chaos.
Should we get into our scripted questions?
Oh yeah, we
Because
should.
we're gonna have to get you on again, mate. Fuck, we've got to get back to work because we're fucking. I'm an idiot. I cannot believe that, and I don't. I want to hear your top 5 favorite athletes because I know they're going to be good.
But this is good as well because hopefully for next episode, a bunch of people will have a lot of questions from
definitely
what's gone
you're
down
still
today.
blowing up, and I guarantee you, by the end of the year, you're getting that 10K.
Luke
on the
Tulloch
gram.
levels of fame.
You reckon?
100%.
I don't know.
Mate, this
Luke is killing it.
he is, but this will be the first stepping stone for you.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
always tell people.
Top 5. I was going to wake up this morning and write them down, but I didn't get a
no,
chance.
Fuck, you're making
So,
me feel even worse.
In no particular order, maybe I'll order them afterwards, but I think Roy Keane, he's a soccer player, he's an Irish soccer player. He's one of my favourite athletes ever, probably the guy I grew up wanting to be. He was an absolute beast of a man and a very, very angry man, and I absolutely love that. He smashed everyone. And he's even more angry now as he's a kind of a pundit now, and he's kind of he hasn't gone well in management, so he just slates everyone, which is quite funny.
He can't scratch the itch anymore.
No, and he like in management, he just couldn't understand why, because he obviously had to try and work his way up through the ranks, so he was with a couple of smaller teams, and he just couldn't understand why the players were shit. You know, he's just like, just do this. Like, this is what I used to do. And it just didn't work. So, yeah, but he's an Irish guy. He's from about 2 hours from me, and he's an idol in Ireland. He's huge. He was captain of Man United when they won a treble. He was captain for maybe 10 or 11 years.
Wow.
For the most successful club probably in history. So yeah.
That's a good one.
Him. I think LeBron. I'm a big fan of, I just love seeing class. I love seeing class. There's nothing better than seeing a guy who's just doing it game after game, year after year, and just absolutely killing it.
Loves a bit of knees in as well.
What do you think about LeBron's raised pinky toe? Have you seen that? Everyone reckons that's why he has a crazy spring.
I've seen it. I don't know. I don't want to put it all down to raised pinky toe. The man is just a beast.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I saw Lakers play Oklahoma on the 3rd of January this year, and I got to see him sit on the bench.
Aw.
Oh, really? He didn't play at all?
No, because he had his quad tear. Or whatever. He had something
Shit.
going on with his quad. Mate, he needed your help, mate. I should have been yelling at him. Search David Gray on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's interesting. His S&C coach cops it because LeBron squats high. I'm like, do we really need to see that man travel all the way down? Like, fucking hell, he's playing all right.
Yeah. I saw that video where he had his legs really wide and he was doing like a
West side, baby.
weird squat.
With the fixed barbell. That's all time for me.
Oh, was it with the fixed
It was
barbell?
a fixed barbell. It was like maybe 20 kegs.
That's a bit egregious.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. Who cares? That man is a beast.
Correct.
You know, he's hardly ever injured. I don't know how many years he's played.
This was his first
maybe his
major injury, and it wasn't even that major. It was I think he maybe was out for 4 weeks.
Yeah. Maybe that, people might hate me for saying this, but maybe that S&C coach, maybe he knows that that's a stupid looking squat. Maybe he doesn't. But who cares? You know, I bet you if LeBron had some S&C coach who was supposed to be incredible and was like, LeBron, you need to squat double body weight, I bet you LeBron would have gotten injured by now. Just because of load management. He's just overloading him. Saying that you need to do this.
I'd love to see a LeBron that ran into Poliquin, just packing his fat grips, doing some bicep curls before every game.
No, he does.
Yeah.
He uses that thing that sort of sways up and down to do his curls on a Swiss ball.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, so he's kneeling on the Swiss ball and the thing's going. You know that thing? It's it oscillates.
Is that David Weck?
No, maybe.
Bro, that's the best follow I've ever made on Instagram.
No, I had to unfollow him.
No, get back on the train. It's fucking sick.
I followed him like 3 times now, and I had to unfollow him each time. He went. The last straw for me was he went into the supermarket and did like a. I found myself watching like a 15-minute Instagram TV video on where the Bosu balls were positioned in the supermarket.
Because he just wants them near the front to make those dollars.
Oh my God! And I was like, I came out of that video and I was like, how have I just watched all of that? And I just unfollowed him then. I was like, that's the last straw.
That's my favorite rabbit hole to go down.
And who's number 3?
Number 3
David Weck.
is, it's got to be, so in the top 5 has got to be Bolt. There's something to be said for being the fastest person who's ever walked the earth. It's just like pretty cool, yeah.
He's a beast.
And he is cool. He's cool.
You've met him?
He's cool. No, I haven't met him.
Yeah, no,
but-
You don't need to run into the guy to know he's cool.
Hey, we saw him
Yeah.
at that nightclub on the GC. He looked pretty cool.
No
man.
one could get within
No
10
one could
feet
get
of him. He
within.
had his boys there.
Yeah.
And he would just
Yeah.
he would summon women off the dance
Yeah.
floor and they'd be like, me? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the king.
So I actually work with a sprinter here he's a master sprinter. He actually hasn't slowed down between the ages of 40 and 49.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, which is cool. Like
What
really cool.
times
He's
are we
he's
thinking?
really really good.
Like, is he a threat
I'm not
to-
sure what time he's doing right now.
Is he a threat to Kim Collins' record?
I don't know.
Kim Collins ran
I don't know much about him.
9.93 at the age of 42.
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he ran a lifetime PB in 2000, or maybe it was 99 at the World Championships. He ran 1998, and then 20 years later, he ran a lifetime PB.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's from St Kitts and Nevis.
That's
Look him
insane.
up. He's a beast. Kim Collins. He doesn't run anymore, but he was running up until last year.
Fucking hell.
Beast.
Okay. That's insane. Yeah. But this guy he's a strength and conditioning coach and he's a lecturer as well.
Nice.
But he's a sprinter.
Fuck.
And the last time he was down with me for a session, he said, he's not in my top 5, by the way. Sorry, John. Sorry, John. I'm just giving you a shout out here. But he was like, I was doing something with him. I was doing a drill where we were doing like a Zercher little split squat, and then he was exploding up onto a box, and it's kind of inspired by a little bit by Franz Bosch, and he was saying like, what would you be doing? He's always questioning everything, like in a good way, and would you be doing this with the water bags if you were training Usain Bolt? And I said like, I'll tell you when I train him. You know, I don't know. I can't question these things that his coaches are doing because I don't know what. You just don't know. You can't. People are slating everyone else and laughing at other people what they're doing, and you have no idea why.
Bro, I thought weightlifting coaches were bad because I think it must just be a thing with small communities, but speed coaches are the fucking
you gotta
worst
think of the
community.
fucking- you gotta
It
think
is
of the
the
lack of
most
resources in
toxic
Jamaica.
pack of cunts I have ever run into, and I have hung around some toxic crowds in my time. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great to sit back with no skin in the game and just watch the chaos. Because that's the thing. No one's
Yeah.
consistently getting people fast. Everyone's like got their system, and sorry, they are out there, but you know what I mean. Majority of the people bickering. Everyone's argument is like, but who have they trained?
So what
Says the person who was trained. No one.
What are you saying, that David should start coaching sprinters?
It's too nice.
Well, he does coach sprinters.
Yeah.
But just not in sprinting per se.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, you're right. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And it does my head in. I'm like, stop with the negativity. Stop slating each other, even if it is entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the thing with Adarian and the guys from, is it
I
Guata
did,
or something
yeah.
like that?
So they were getting super salty.
He goes hard at Darian Bar. I love how he cuts his own shoes up.
Yeah. But he's good. He's a smart guy. He's definitely a smart guy, and he's onto some stuff. But like, it's not your way or no way. You know, it just can't be that.
Oh.
There's a lot of smart people out there who get a lot of good results doing a lot of different things. So I want to take some of all these different things and apply it to whoever needs it. I don't want to be the guy
But I posted low key
Just-
some of Darren Barr's me doing his squatted drills, and I literally got about 8 DMs of people that follow us, like sprinters, being like, upright in your drills, and I was like, I couldn't be bothered challenging them and being like, oh, I got this from here, and so I was just like, oh, awesome,
Yeah.
thanks for the tips, I'll apply that next time.
And then just like, sorry, I got it from
Copy-paste,
WEC, and then
copy-paste,
you won't get a reply.
Yeah.
From WEC. Go follow WEC.
Yeah.
No, Darian is a smart guy. He's definitely onto some stuff. And these are the people that push the industry forward. These are the people like some people might laugh at them, and they might not get everything right, but they will get some stuff right. And this is how we learn from people. And I bet you all the stuff that we know now and we take as being true has come from people like that in the past who have really developed stuff and put themselves out there a little bit and allowed themselves to be laughed at.
I know we're meant to be in scripted questions, but like, did you catch Bill Hartman talking about how there's only a transverse plane the other day?
No, but I think I heard you saying it on a podcast.
Like,
Yeah.
I've been
I'm sure
stewing on it.
he's probably
I
right.
think I get what he's alluding to, but I can never be sure with that guy because he's just such a goddamn savant of the human body.
Yeah, I haven't seen what he's said about it, so that would be interesting to see. I'm sure he's probably right. Like, there's probably not such a thing as the sagittal plane or frontal plane movement, but how does it help me?
Yeah, then that's the next question, which is often quite vital and unanswered.
Yeah, it doesn't help me. I don't think so. So I don't care about it then.
We both have to run off. We're
We gotta finish
Yeah.
up. Well, if you need to go, you jet, and then
I gotta order Uber right now. Dave, thanks so much. Apologies again. We got to tee up a longer version of this.
We do. I just messaged someone to warm up my HIIT class, so we've still got time.
I want to
Sorry,
see the
George,
mechanical
if I see you
foot.
choosing
Like,
it.
this is the perfect
Oh,
format
no,
for
fuck. Anyway, let's
Right.
finish off these top two later.
See, Angus.
Yeah, the top two athletes.
two.
This is what our show's built on. This is the most important thing. It was great information aside.
Top two. So I have two more. So Tiger Woods is one.
Yeah, nice. Great comeback.
Again, I love a Cinderella story, and I just love class. Like seeing him. I love an athlete who's just like, yeah, I'm the best, and I'm just going to do this right now. And he's obviously historically been like that, but then a massive, the biggest meltdown in the history of sport.
Yeah.
And then probably the biggest comeback in the history of sport.
Well, definitely going back to what you said of like sort of overall happiness, like he really dove down and went through some dark days, and that's where he fucked his back. He had those surgeries, and then it seems like his life's going good. Happiness came back, and then look at him, had a crazy season.
Exactly. What a legend. And I don't care that he's maybe not that nice a guy. That's not for me to judge or whatever. But just what a legend. He's done a lot for the game of golf, hasn't he?
Oh, definitely. And number one? Well, it doesn't have to be number one, just the last one.
Last one. Shit. Last
Conor
one.
McGregor?
No, man. No.
I'm trying to think
No, I don't like.
what other Irish.
I did just say that I don't care that Tiger Woods isn't a nice guy.
Yeah.
But I think Conor McGregor is probably
guy.
the biggest dickhead. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, it seems to be because Angus and I we don't heavily involved in Reddit, but we spend a lot of time on Reddit, and it seems like a lot of Irish people don't particularly like Conor, and they've had some interesting public run-ins with him.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan, to be honest. Massive fan of like what he's achieved. He's obviously an incredible fighter, and he's very passionate about fighting and movement, but he's just really, really allowed everything else to cloud that, I think, a little bit, which is a pity because he's a smart guy too in terms of towards his training. Like when you hear him talk about his training and his practice and his fighting and things like that, he's a very smart guy. But I think he's on a very, very bad road right now, and I don't know where that's going to end up.
Another beating from Nate Diaz, if you ask me.
I don't think he's going to fight again.
Look, why would you if you're not that into it? He's got plenty of cash by the sounds of it, and he might have some legal troubles.
Yeah. Number one, or the first one. Shit. What have I done? I've had a soccer player.
What about Gaelic football athlete?
Yeah, I'll go with a Gaelic football athlete. So it's
Someone
a
you
guy
can
I've played with.
Educate the listeners.
It's a guy I've played with. His name is Michael Welsh. They call him the Brick because he's an absolute brick of a man. But so we play two sports in Ireland. So some of the best players, if you watch on television, you'll see some of the best players playing in front of 85,000 people in the All Ireland final in Gaelic football. But the majority of them will actually play hurling as well. So they'll play another sport as well.
Wow.
Yeah, and work as well. So it's an amateur sport, but they're still training full time. So this guy, I've played football with him. He plays with my club, but he's also one of the best hurlers in Ireland. So he's won 10 county titles. So basically 10 of the last like 15, 16 years, he's won the biggest prize in sport in our area. But then he's also played for in a higher level as well, in a different sport as well, and he's unbelievable. He's so strong. He's so good. He can't stand losing in training. Like if you take the ball off him, you're going to get flattened in about another minute. So I guess he's going to be in the top 5. I'll always look back and remember that I played with him and I learned a lot from him.
There you go.
So,
a guy that sounds like he should come on the High Performance podcast and enjoy the spectacle
Yeah,
of the SCG.
He's not a big podcast guy.
Oh, really?
He's not a big interview guy. Damn. No. He's a very humble guy. He will probably flatten me if he hears that I mentioned his name on this.
What if I get one of the Swans players to call him out and say that they could beat him in a half of Gaelic football, half of AFL?
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
I'll do it. They train at the gym I work out of. Does he have Instagram?
Have you had many of them on?
No, dude.
No, he does not have Instagram. No.
No, we haven't had any. We've been trying to get him on, but turns out the boys just hate the show, and that's okay. No,
is there any Irish players?
Yeah.
Is there any Irish players playing for them?
Zach Tui, I think his last name is. He has a beard. He hosts the Elephant Rope podcast. He plays for Geelong.
Yeah.
That's one off the top of my head.
He's good.
He's very good.
Is he good? Is he still good?
Yeah, he's good. Geelong had a pretty good regular season, not too good in the finals, but they still did all right. But you got to get out here again, mate, and come to more games. But I got to wrap this up. Again, I apologize so much. We'll definitely get you on again. And mate, any last words? Oh, you got to plug your IG.
Oh, man. Plug my IG, yeah. So David Gray, Grey, Rehab. Is my IG. Come check it out. Maybe if you want, I don't mind.
Definitely check it out.
Have a look. Yeah, check it out. That's it. I don't have much to plug. I'm pretty busy right now, so I'm not trying to get too much or too busy. I'll try and maybe get out to Australia next year at some point, so I might try and catch up with you guys.
100%. You gotta come in studio and to catch a game.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for having me on. Love the podcast, and hope we did okay.
No, you did okay.
I'm still a little bit sleepy, but I hope it was all right.
No, you did well. All right, guys, make sure you check out David. He posts some great stuff. Angus has done work with him and got really good results. And, mate, again, sorry for being late. And
that's okay, man.
All right, mate. I'll talk to you next time.